welcome to Untitled School's Eye on Education. I'm Jada Jonas, and I'm back as your guest host today. October is National Principals Month, and so today I'm joined by one of our amazing leaders, Andy Mehall. Mr. Mehall is the principal at Cloverleaf Elementary School, and he is our former Principal of the Year for Untitled Statesville Schools. Joining him today, we get the special privilege of having our first student guest, Bella Brookshire. Bella is a 5th grade student at Cloverleaf, so welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
If you'll recall, last week, Dr. Nutting had a chance to speak with Chris Grace at Lakeshore Elementary School, and they spoke about the STEM program at the school and the distinction that they recently received from the state. And so today we're going to be talking about another opportunity we have here in Untitled Statesville Schools at Cloverleaf Elementary School. Today we'll talk about the IB program, International Baccalaureate. We're not only going to talk about the program as a whole, but we're going to talk about what it looks like on an elementary campus. We're going to also talk about the learner profile. So we're talking about a little bit of that and what it looks like. And then as we conclude the show, we're going to finish up with trying to explore a little bit about living out the IB mission and really helping develop and support the whole child. So before we jump into that, I know that's a lot, Mr. Mehall, tell us a little bit, since we are celebrating principals this month, tell us a little bit about your education background and how you got involved in education and then the desire to become a building leader.
Okay, yeah, it's a great profession to be a part of. It started at a young age. I got to watch my mother teach 1st grade for many years, 30 years. She worked at Shepherd, retired out of Shepherd Elementary, and really enjoyed every moment of it, but I always wanted to do more and give back more, and being a building leader is key and important to me, and it was really supported by my family. My wife works in the school system, and I have kids that are part of the school system. That it's an amazing journey to be on when you're working with them in the schools, and I can't thank my parents enough, my family enough for everything, all the support, but also, even current leadership. Dr. James, amazing leader. We've had just a few months to get to know, along with John Ribbick has been a big part of that. Dr. Melanie Taylor, really all those people throughout my years have been really key in that whole piece and really pushing us to do these type of programs like IB and really challenging students to get more out of education. And that's what we want in this area. We want a top-notch education in Ardell County, and we're just one more piece of that puzzle.
That's right. And it's thanks to all of our amazing leaders at our school buildings as well. Okay, so as we move forward, let's go ahead and talk about the IB program, International Baccalaureate. In Untitled Statesville Schools, we offer what we call the full continuum, and that includes the primary years program at the elementary level, our middle years program, which expands to middle school on up to 10th grade, and then our diploma program, that's 11th and 12th graders, as well as the career-related program. So tell us a little bit about your authorization and what that looks like at your school.
All right, so it was a multi-year process we had to work through, and it began years ago, and I got asked to take the challenge by Brady Johnson, who said, are you ready to, I started a STEM school up at Harmony, are you ready to start a IB school or get it authorized? And that came about with what does the community want? What does the area want? And talking to different business owners in the area, they want the things we talk about. They want thinkers, they want principled, they want open-minded folks to be employable in their businesses, and we bring that we're building students out at such a foundational level that instill those values in them for when they grow through the diploma program. They're either able to be employed right away out of the box, go to college, or do whatever they want to do. I mean, they have a huge opportunity because we're building those foundational levels at Cloverleaf.
And I know one of the last pieces to the continuum was the primary years program. Tell a little bit about that process, if you will. I want the listeners to understand this is not something we just decide, hey, let's be a primary years program.
So when you go through the process, there's an application phase. There's like 70 plus areas you have to be distinguished or working towards a distinguished level as far as teaching goes. You take teaching from just a sit and get or the rows we sat in as a child in education. The teacher tells you what you need to learn, you learn it, and you move on. It's totally different than the IB, where you're taking information and you're actually manipulating it, working with it, understanding it, with those building those foundational skills of the learner profile along with that. So it's a large term process, and that's why I'm glad Bella's here. We're going to have her share a little bit more about that.
Yes, let's go ahead. Share with us, Bella. Talk to us a little bit about what IB looks like at your school, and then if you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the learner profile, go ahead and introduce our listeners to that.
So we have many ways to learn about like our countries and stuff. We have the mural in our atrium. We have all the world landmarks. We have the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Eiffel Tower, the Grand Canyon, the Great Pyramids. Huge maps on our walls, and we also have some Hall of Flags where like all the flags of all the continents of the world.
Yeah. And then talk about, since you talked about your walls, there's something in the middle, right there in the middle of the floor, right? A compass.
Oh yeah.
And it has your learner profiles on it. Can you tell us a little bit about what the learner profiles are and how they kind of support the IB education?
Well, the learner profile is 10 traits to help you be a better and successful person. All the learner profiles are knowledgeable, inquirer, thinker, caring, open-minded, principled, communicator, reflected, balanced, and risk-taker. I usually focus on being an inquirer in math, curious, and being curious to ask questions to help me better in math.
Okay. And Mr. Mihal, do you want to explain more about the learner profile of how you're implementing that and day in, day out at the school?
Yeah, we look for traits every day. We look for students that exhibit these type of traits, and Bella right here has been our risk taker, not just a risk taker today, but she's been a risk taker all along. And one thing about Bella is she wants to be a risk taker in the future. This is kind of her audition, we're calling it, for her broadcasting career in the future. We're going to look to hopefully get her signed on either WSIC or maybe the Braves baseball.
That would be awesome.
Play-by-play.
Remember us.
So that's her. We just like to challenge kids. Leave the top off. Let them bubble up. Let them work out and figure out where to go with all these. And these traits allow that. They allow them to dig a little deeper in themselves to figure out what works for them without having that fear of failure, because failure is all right if we grow from it. So that's part of the learner profile trait as far as what we want to grow in students.
And I would say those that are listening that have been at school, they may think this is similar to like character education. Can you speak a little bit to how that's either similar or different to learner profile?
There's some parts of that. Or character traits is what we instill as parents and our kids at home, and this is just another piece of that because we can only do so much as parents. I have 2 kids of my own, and they only listen to us so much. We have to instill it by others in the schools and others in the community to really push them along to be those good citizens that we all want in our community. Being knowledgeable about something is key, because if we don't listen and understand and take all that in, we're never going to be knowledgeable about something. So as a school, we take on a piece of this, and we showcase them every week in our school, and what they are becoming. So if this week, for instance, if we're looking at someone being caring, maybe they held the door for someone, maybe they exhibited caring in an action project they started, because one of our biggest pieces is action. And what are they doing for the community? Action service projects is one piece of that. And last year we had a great example of that with the local the animal shelter, where they had a donation drive for animals, specifically dogs, to bring food in, puppy pads, shampoos, different things for the local community. So we want to give back as well. So to teach our students how to give back is a key piece of that.
Yeah, and we'll just segue into one of the questions we had here. When we look on the IB website, one of their pieces of their mission statement says that at their heart, they're motivated by a mission to create a better world for or through education. And so this creates that important idea for our IB students to take action and make the world a better place. So you mentioned the drive. Are there other examples of how your school or students at your school are living that out?
Yeah, they're working on different projects. One project they're working on right now is we have Bella's part of our governing agency for students, like the little diplomats, as we like to call them every now and again. They like to work through different situations in the school or things that may come up. And this year we're going to challenge them. She doesn't know this yet, but we're going to challenge them with shade covering. We need shade covering for our playground area for the outside, and we use umbrellas currently, but it'd be nice to have a larger drive. So we're doing a sock drive coming up to assist with different things, but also assist with that as well.
Okay. And Bella, what's it like to be a part of that?
Oh, it's like really fun that you get to help the school with whatever problems, and you always encourage others to help the school.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so when we're looking at your school from the outside, if somebody's just driving down the road, it really looks like a typical school from outside, minus the learner profile banners you have coming in, which I always love to read. How is learning at the IB World Schools different? Let's talk about kind of as a whole, and then let's kind of delve down into the elementary level, and then hear really from our student to see what that looks like for her too.
Okay. For school driving up, it's not your typical school. It may look brick and mortar still similar, but when you pull up, we like to capture our audience with good curb appeal on the school itself, because right away you're seeing this looks different, this feels different when you walk in. When you go see the classrooms, we're looking at taking the overall world and focusing on what that means to Ardell County. So that's a big piece of it as well. Like all the national news we heard just previous on the in the break in between. What does that mean to Ardell County? What does that mean to Cloverleaf? What can we do to impact that? So when you look at how we build our units of study are matched with the they're matched all with the North Carolina curriculum. So you have to kind of weave that together, but teachers build it. They build the curriculum, they build the units of study to mesh in with that. And it's a large piece of the success, because you don't just build it once and you're done. You build it, and then every quarter or every year we reflect on it and build it and make it better. So the units are always changing. The units of study are moving through and changes, and we just want to be better to provide a better education each and every year.
And Bella, what does that look like for you in the classroom?
So like we have all the learner profiles hanging up in our classroom, so we always know how to act and be a great person. And we have inquiry cycle to learn how to do ask questions for the whatever question it is for math, reading, science, whatever. So we have the inquiry cycle to what's the question, what questions to ask.
And do you have a favorite subject or project that you've worked on at school that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we just did the science fair, so I really liked that project.
And what was your project on?
It was called Fizzle or Drizzle. It was with Coke and Mentos. Does the packaging matter for? It was it wasn't Coke. It was Mentos. It was Pepsi.
Okay. And so you explored that reaction there. That's awesome. Talk to us a little bit. So Cloverleaf is the second IB World School with the primary years program, with the first one being Cottle Creek. Talk to us a little bit about the sister schools and how you guys have learned from them and they've learned from you in this process.
Principal Susan Fail at Cottle Creek is really easy to work with, so we get a chance to work together quite often, and we partner up regularly. We work on professional development together. We work through any type of things or projects they're working on. We share information that way, and also as units go. So we visit. Last year we visited them just to kind of make sure we're on the right track, because they led us through some pieces of this to make sure we're on the right track. So we actually, before COVID, I always say, before COVID, we were actually set up to go down there for their actual projects. Their fifth graders would display their project at the end of the year, and we were going to go down there to visit with our fourth graders to go see the projects and then see what they did, so we can go ahead and work on those for this year. So that was a large piece of it, was the partnership we have. And we have an IB coordinator, Dr. Whitaker, at our school, who works with, my wife is the IB coordinator at Cottle Creek, so they work really well together to coordinate, whether it's units to study, whether it's the action plans, whatever they're working towards. They partner together very well, and it works seamlessly the way the two schools are mirrored together.
That's awesome. You spoke just briefly just then about the project. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And Bella, have you started your project? What does that look like for you?
My project for the science fair, or
No, the actual fifth grade project, they're not ready to roll that out yet. They'll roll that out in the next month or two.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a process in the works. Like they're trying to work on things that kind of mirror what they're working on throughout the year as far as the IB piece, and kind of showcases that. So it's going to be that'll happen in a few months, but they'll get. We're finally back to school this week, so
That's
it's just
right.
like we're trying to get them all worked into every piece of the puzzle. But we got science fair going, and that's a big our first actual project for fifth graders to get started with was, and it goes school wide, but that was our first big hurdle. So
Yes.
we're happy to be back though with this week, and we're gonna roll that out with our fifth graders and through the next few months.
Okay, and so speaking of going back to school for 5 days with our elementary schools, we've heard that was kind of like first day again on campus. So how did it go?
What do you think?
I thought it went really good. I liked everybody in my class because I've been missing like all my friends that's been in the other classes and on Thursday, Friday, and I just want to do all normal like last year, like all normal.
We all do. We all do.
Yep. So it went smooth. I mean, we first day in, it was our third first day. If you look at we had a Monday, Tuesday first day, a Thursday, Friday first day. And so this is our third first day. So we had plenty of time to practice to get that right. And it went really smooth, and we're hoping to continue that. And, it's still, COVID's still there, and we're working with the health department closely to make sure that we're being as safe as possible for our students and our families, because it is, to stay open, we got to stay healthy. And
That's right.
that's a key piece of that. So.
And we've got to learn to work with it, which I think, the partnership with the health department that you mentioned has been so key in all this. Okay, so we're still have a little bit of time. So is there anything else you want to share about Cloverleaf with us?
Well, I wanted to ask Bella a few questions about
Okay, please do.
Cloverleaf. So as far as subjects go, Bella, what is your favorite subject, and tell everyone why you like it so much?
I like reading because I just like reading good books. And I don't really like answering questions, but I like reading the good books.
Well, that's good. Now we're going to go into something that she is in her wheelhouse. Like
Okay,
this
let's
is her
go.
thing. So Bella, when you're not in school, tell everyone what do you use these learner profiles for out, and what do you do that's fun?
I play basketball, and I always try to use my learner profiles in everyday lives and in basketball.
So which one in particular for basketball?
I use which one? Reflective most of the time.
Okay.
If I don't do that great in that one game, I always reflect on what I did, and then I go outside and practice, and practice makes perfect. So
Yep, that's right. And that's probably from your coach. Who's your coach? Who was your coach last year?
my dad.
So she has big shoes. She has to stay on that. So
That's awesome.
with going through school, what is the biggest changes though with school this year than say last year in February?
Well, it's very different because of the masks and everything, and washing our hands, and most of the stuff is like, last year we got to do all the stuff that like the playground just opened up again, but last year we did get to eat in the cafeteria, but that's a bunch of people in space with their mask off, so that's
Changed a little, right?
yeah.
Yep. So the biggest thing in a K-5 school, the playground's open. So we had had a challenge. It's kind of like the problem-solving model, the inquiry model. Like, what is the problem? Well, the problem was too many kids close together with a playground. So we had to work through the process with the students to see what we could do to open those playgrounds up for them. And we came together as a county and came up with ways to keep it safe and open the playground up. So that was a big deal this week. So all you
That's
hear through the
awesome.
school is playgrounds
Yes.
were open, and we're pretty excited about
That's something to celebrate for
it. Yep,
sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Did you have anything else for?
Oh, I don't know. Anything else you want to share?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, our IB schools is just one of the opportunities that we have here in Iredell County for our students. But I would like to encourage all of our listeners, and I know Cloverleaf will have a virtual table too, but we are hosting a virtual event on Thursday, October the 8th, this Thursday, and it's all online, and it's called It's Happening Here. So if you've been around in the county, you've probably heard a little buzz about this event before, but it is all virtual this year, just so we can keep up with those guidelines. So the annual event is going to be giving schools an opportunity to have virtual tables. They'll have a live Q&A session and also some breakout rooms where we can talk about other opportunities we offer for our students here. So if you'd like to check that out and join us on that event, we're going to post a link on our website. We'll have a link also on our Facebook page. And so I just want to encourage everybody to go check that out. And they can find your table as well there, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we like to promote as much as possible because our school's open. We're open to any K-5 student. If you want to apply, we have applications to get in. But, we like to make sure it's the right fit for you. So we give tours still. We do virtual tours. We do in-person tours. Just trying to get the word out there that, we have choice programs in the county that if you're not liking where you're at, you're not liking the 100% virtual in the school you're currently at, we're open. We're open to come in person, or we have other options like iAcademy that gives that hybrid model availability, and we can work with you on different levels.
Yeah, we truly have something for everybody here in our system. And I love the partnership we have with our fellow schools. So it's not a competition. Mm-hmm. We just want to find the right fit for the student. So I want to thank Mr. Mehall, and I want to thank Bella for coming today. We appreciate you being guests on the show. Is there anything else you want to share that we didn't ask Bella?
No, she just wants to make sure her audition went well for the...
Okay.
So her audition, we're hoping it went well so she can get that, spot on the sports show here.
Okay.
What do you think, Bella?
Oh, yeah, I just want to be on the Atlanta Braves.
We love that. And tell us, since you brought up the Braves, tell us your favorite player.
Charlie Culberson.
Okay. So we'll be looking for you to start hosting
That's right.
and announcing for the Braves. I think you did an excellent job, and I really want to thank you for being our first student. You've been so brave and such a risk taker for coming on, and you did an excellent job. And Mr. Mehall, thank you for sharing with us and sharing Bella with us this morning as well.
Thank you.
Next week on Iredell Statesville Schools Eye on Education, we'll be speaking with Suzanne Wegmiller, and she is with Crosby Scholars of Iredell County. Joining her will actually be Harrison Hayes, who is a senior at South Iredell High School, and they will be discussing more about the Crosby Scholars Program and the benefits they have here. So that's all we have for today, so thanks for listening.